Okay, so that's what I've got after I vacuumed. Got some holes. So I think what's going to happen is the whole floor is going to come out and get replaced. Everywhere I can get to it anyway. We'll see. May have to try to scoop some under some of these walls. We will see how it works out. So, finding all kinds of fun stuff in here. There's still some metal in here, under here, that's good, but the wood is a little rotten. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's real nice. Yep, gonna have to put some subfloor in. Well, it looks like the rot is relatively contained around the wheel well, which starts about right here and then ends around right here. So I imagine that it kind of keeps on going up under the shower pan there for a little ways and then kind of tapers off. This is a little more solid here. But right here's a little bubble of nothing. And then it's soaked back up under. So I think what happened is these rust holes developed in the fender well. That's what I'm trying to say, fender well. I think these rust holes developed in the fender well, and then the water got between the floor and this metal that they put in here, probably for safety, you know, if you blow a tire or something. You need something stronger than wood, probably, and fire, you know, if you have a tire catch on fire, wheel bearings or whatever. So I think what happened was the moisture got in between the wood and the metal and never came back out. When I pulled this flooring out today, just a few minutes ago, it was still wet. It's dry now, but it was wet under here. There's no telling how old that moisture is. But the wall is relatively solid, which means it probably didn't come from there. I think it came up through the wheel well. The other potential is where this vent tube comes down. You can see it's been leaking real slow. And I looked at the lap sealant around that where it comes out the roof the other day, and I can see why it would be leaking. I need to chip all that out and redo it, and that'll take care of that. So anyway, water damage, gotta love it. So one of the things I got to figure out is, I got this freaking mask on. One of the things I got to figure out is how far I want to take this. So that damage pretty much goes all the way to the doghouse, but it's not too terrible. But this wheel well starts here. You got all that, and then you got all this, and this keeps going. I guess the shower pan's gonna have to come out, this ductwork, and kind of see how far that goes. This kind of stops in the middle of the floor. Here's the issue. The plywood goes this way, perpendicular across the bus. From what I can tell, they started right there at the doghouse, put a 4x8 sheet right here. Right there is the seam for the first sheet. And the bus is a 7.5 or so feet wide, so an 8-foot sheet, you know, they've just laid it all down in here. And so what that means is they were straddling across the chassis and other various metal components to hold the plywood up. Well, when the previous owner worked on this floor the first time, he cut it right here. Well, the chassis is right there. And so right at the moment, the only thing holding this up right here is that thin metal. See, if you look when I step on it, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but it's drooping, and it's doing the same thing down here. Anyway, so you could go back in with a sheet this way, but there's really no way to shore this up. It's gonna flex every time you walk through here. Which honestly, I mean, I'm putting Advantech back in here, so it ain't gonna flex much. But I think what I'm gonna do is run new plywood. I'm just gonna start from the back. It's not gonna be that hard to get this plywood out, because here's what's gonna happen. However bad it is right here, it's gonna be just as bad right here. You just can't see it. He replaced a smaller piece right here, but you can see right there it's trying to rot into that corner, and guarantee you it goes up under this furnace, which could be part of the reason that furnace isn't sitting level and the fan is binding up. So all this cabinetry is going to have to come out. By the way, I love this light. It's a Milwaukee M12 LED light. I forget what they call it. Rover. It's like a Rover or something or another, but it's got 2 levels of brightness, and you can charge your phone off of it, which is kind of neat. And man, it's bright as crap, and it's magnetic. So I'm just kind of hanging from this, you know, coat rack bar or whatever you call it, closet bar, and it makes a perfect light down here where I'm trying to work. So on an old bus like this that actually has steel in it, there's a lot of places I can stick this light. So I'm super happy with that. We have snowfall. All right, so back in the Newell, working on the floor. And in order to get to the floor on this side, all of these cabinets have to come out. So I'm in the process of pulling all these screws out from the inside. Some of them are holding the cabinets to the wall and the floor. Some of them are holding the top on the cabinets. So I'm just going through and I'm taking all the screws out. I'm gonna see if I can get this top off, and once the top's off, it'll be a little bit easier to get to everything, and we'll just start taking the screws out that hold it to the floor, and hopefully all this cabinetry I can get it out, and then I can start working on this rotted floor. I started kind of banging on this with a hammer this morning to just see how soft it was, and it was pretty soft. So all this floor is going to have to be replaced. I'm just going to start at the back and start working my way forward. All right, so the little vanity is out, and that enabled me to get to the little cabinet that covers the electrical, which enabled me to get to the last few screws that were holding the top on. So now the top is out of the way. Now that that's out of the way, whole lot easier to get that screw and these screws and all those screws. So it's got a few more screws to get out, and then this whole cabinet will come out. And once I get that out, then I can just get to this little piece of floor right here. That's all I wanted to do. Anyway, I'm hoping that I can kind of go under this wall here, kind of like I did over here, and just dig it all out and hopefully slide a piece of plywood underneath these walls. But that is yet to be seen. First, we have to see how far the damage goes. Okay, well, got that out. So now we can get to the rot, which is not very great. I think it was about like the other side. They just didn't pull the cabinets out when they did this first time, and honestly, after pulling those out, I don't blame them. But they're out of the way now. So this back bedroom is getting roomier and roomier and roomier. But anyway, start pulling this floor out, see where we're at. Oh yeah. Well, the furnace is out. Let's see here. What do I want to poke a hole through the floor with? How about we'll start with the small screwdriver. And there's just nothing under there. Oh wow. Yep. Not looking so hot. That's a nice rotten wood with a good solid base of rusted metal. Yep. This is going to be fun. The floor saga continues. So I'm on the roof again. I noticed the other day there was some leaks coming through the roof, and I believe it's these horns. This side wasn't actually leaking, but I'm gonna seal it up anyway. And then this side was the culprit. And see where that lap sealant is not there anymore, pretty much. I think that's where it was getting under there. But this plate that they put down to screw to was also rusted. So I grinded it all down really good and sprayed it with, I call it one step, because that's what I used to use back in the day, but one step's kind of hard to find. So this is what I'm using. But there's a bunch of different companies that make it. I think this is just like the one step because it smells exactly like the one step. They make some that you can brush on or roll on. I don't think it works very good. It's kind of pricey, but it works good. You can see everywhere there was rust is starting to turn like black. So that's the chemical reaction that happens. And the key with this stuff is if you leave the red on there, so like if there's scaly rust, it doesn't work. It's not gonna work. You gotta really get it down to where you just see sort of the brownish, blackish tint of where the rust used to be. If you spray that with this stuff, it'll stop it dead in its tracks. So for example, the tops of these screws right here where I couldn't really get to them all that great, they'll probably keep rough. That's all right. One day, if I have to come back up here and redo all this, I will. I just don't think I'm going to today. Just want to get the leak stopped so I can work on the inside. So anyway, that's what we're doing while it's nice and warm out. A little windy, but we'll get it done. And that's what it looks like cooked up. So that ought to keep the water out. It's not perfect and it's not pretty, but it should be sealed. Flex Seal Flex Tape, clear edition. We'll see how this works.